Good evening, I'm Dennis Ward. Welcome to APTN National News. We begin in the Mohawk Nation of Kanesatake in Quebec. Tensions between Kanesatake's Grand Chief, Victor Bonspiel, and the Band Council has reached a climax, as a recent Ethics Commission ruling has ousted Bonspiel as Grand Chief. As our reporter Savannah Craig reports, there has been long-standing turmoil between the two, as Bonspiel has made claims the Band Council misspent federal COVID relief money during the beginning of the pandemic.
At some point, everything that is happening in Kanesatake can be laid at the feet of individuals.
The turmoil between the former Grand Chief Victor Bonspiel and members of Kanesatake's Band Council has been going on for years, coming to a peak at the end of March, when the Grand Chief was ousted by a Kanesatake First Nation Ethics Commission ruling. On April 2nd, the Band Council held a press conference to clear the air on why Grand Chief Victor Bonspiel and his sister, Chief Valerie Bonspiel, were ousted.
We are now asking the government to formally acknowledge and respect Kanesatake's right to self-governance. The
councillors said there were 3 points that determined this decision, one of which was requesting the federal government to get involved with Kanesatake's financial matters.
An action that would have stripped Kanesatake of its financial autonomy. B, an altercation on August 8, 2022, resulting in the physical assault of Chief Denise David by then Chief Valerie Bonspiel. And C, the appellant's active participation in the forced closure of the council building by chaining its doors shut on October 25, 2024, leading to a court injunction to restore operations.
Former Chief Valerie Bonspiel told APTN News via Facebook Messenger there is no evidence to back allegations of abuse, and she would never do such a thing to someone she had respected at the time. The Ethics Commission was called after the positions of Grand Chief and Chief became vacant under Code 9.1.5 in the Kanesatake Custom Electoral Code, which is when the Grand Chief or any chief misses more than 3 Mohawk Council or public meetings. Victor Bonspiel told APTN News missing meetings was as a result of toxicity between other council members, saying he couldn't meet them face to face. Leading up to this event, Victor Bonspiel had been requesting the federal government to get involved in his allegations against former Band Council members in Kanesatake. He brought it up to the Assembly of First Nations meeting in December 2024.
It's been 4 years now that investigation has been going on, and it's with the Sûreté du Québec who's leading the investigation. And the federal government has yet to be involved in that investigation. And I have yet to hear from the federal government on what they think about their money being spent.
Bonspiel is referring to funds given to Kanesatake for COVID relief in 2020. Crown, Indigenous Relations, and Northern Affairs responded to APTN News, but did not respond to our questions about whether the government will look into Bonspiel's allegations. The current council denies Victor Bonspiel's claims.
Where's the body? Everybody's looked. So if there does turn out to be anything, I think the most it might come down to is a possible maybe breach of public trust, but then that's a whole different matter.
Victor Bonspiel provided APTN News with a number of financial documents during an interview in December. Unaudited financial records for the 2020 fiscal year appear to show that Chief Patricia Meilleur received close to $500,000. In a Facebook message, Meilleur told APTN News she had done nothing wrong. Serge Simon, who was Grand Chief during the beginning of the pandemic, also denies Bonspiel's claims.
All the funding that was distributed was through proposals. And that went through Wabanaki, I believe, at the time. And the federal government put its stamp of approval.
Bonspiel says he took this case to the Sûreté du Québec 4 years ago.
We launched the investigation with the use of the forensic audit outcome, and now we're just waiting for it to hopefully be completed, and people will be held responsible for that.
In a phone call, the SQ confirmed there is an ongoing investigation for fraud. The provincial police spokesperson said the police are not investigating the band council. They are looking into an external agency in Kanesatake, but could not confirm which agency, as it is an ongoing investigation. The SQ confirmed this investigation was launched in August 2021 and that it is near completion, but could not confirm when it will be done. Victor and Valerie say they will both continue acting as Grand Chief and Chief until their community says otherwise. The Band Council says both could be charged for this. It is asking for the federal and provincial governments to respect First Nations law. Indigenous Services Canada spokesperson Pascal Laplante told APTN News via email they're aware of the Ethics Commission's ruling and is reviewing the information. Savannah Craig, APTN National News, Kanesatake, Mohawk Territory.
It was a big night for a First Nations woman in Manitoba. Trechelle Bunn was elected chief of the Birdtail Sioux Dakota Nation in western Manitoba. She is the first woman elected at Birdtail. Her win came on the same day as she was honored as the youth recipient of a 2025 Inspire Award. At 25 years old, Bunn is also believed to be the youngest person taking on the role of chief in Canada. She recently wrapped up her role as youth chief of the Southern Chiefs organization. Bunn is currently a law student at the University of Manitoba and was recently honored with a King Charles III Coronation Medal for her contributions to Canada and the province. Bunn is also the founder of the Reconciliation Run, which is a half marathon held on the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation. Time for a quick break, but first a preview of a story 15 years in the making, coming up next week on APTN National News.
Tell stories without speaking. The wind becomes our words. The power of people to come together and support each other.
Jamie Black-Morset joined me, T.R. Wheatley, to talk about her new book, Red Dress, Art, Action, and the Power of Presence.
I've always wanted to put together a book around the Red Dress Project and bring together all the activism.
She started Red Dress in 2010, long before the days of the National Inquiry into Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women and Girls. Then came the idea of a book in 2022.
This book was being written during the time of Search the Landfill movement. Internationally, Canada is known as like this benign, benevolent country, right? It's really important that we speak out about the realities of what are going on here.
Welcome back. The Manitoba Prospectors and Developers Association held their 4th Reconciliation Forum recently to discuss Indigenous partnerships in the critical mineral industry. APTN Sierra Bettens shares what was heard.
Norway Host Cree Nation councillor Dion Clark says investing in critical minerals has been an economic game changer for northern Manitoba.
We have the control of doing it in a way that's more sustainable and respectful to the land, and doing it in a way where we're not rushing to get the minerals out and destroying the land along the way, but doing it in a way where it's respectful, using the traditional knowledge of our elders, our people that use the land.
Norway House became a major player in the industry when they acquired the Minigo nickel mine in Thompson in November. They were one of several First Nations companies at the Manitoba Prospectors and Developers Association's forum. Marianne Mahaichuk is the association's president.
We're doing it because our companies believe that the number one issue for Manitoba is to develop a strong partnership with the Indigenous people that live on the lands where our critical minerals are.
The Seal River watershed came up in the discussions. In early March, it was deemed feasible as a protected area, following a year-long study. If it does become fully protected, it could have a critical impact on mineral development in the area.
The Seal River Basin, with its enormity, and the 4 communities probably have a population of 1,000 people or less. How do they know what's going to be important to them 7 generations from now?
Stephanie Tharassi speaks for the Seal River Watershed Alliance, a partnership of 4 First Nations who are working to protect the area from industrial development.
I felt like the questions were assuming that we didn't know what we wanted for our futures and for our community members and for the next 7 to multiple generations. You know, I think we know what we want for our community members. We have over 98% of the people saying that they are in favor of supporting the area.
For Councillor Clark, who came to the conference to learn and network, having full First Nations ownership over their mine means having full control over who they'll partner with.
We're not looking for a big corporation that will come in and overtake and destroy our land. We're looking for people that will love and care for the land as much as we do.
Sierra Bettens, APTN National News, Winnipeg.
A set of coloring books and affirmation cards have been released in the Northwest Territories. They're aimed at supporting victims of gender-based violence in the residential school system. Video journalist Bruce De La Cruz has more.
More than 50 illustrations are featured in these coloring books and affirmation cards, which were released in late February. They are the result of a series of workshops for employees of the Northwest Territories and Nunavut Council of Friendship Centers that took place last year. They discussed how to better handle the effects of gender-based violence and the trauma of the residential school system with the use of love languages.
The coloring books and affirmation cards came after the fact, and it was just an idea of like, how can we create a product or like, you know, a tangible item that the people that attended the workshop can take home with them.
Kyle Bird speaks for the project. He is the CEO of the Friendship Centers Council. He says the book and the cards centered on the phrase, "I knew I was loved by you when." Workshop participants were asked to think of a parent or loved one and fill in the rest of the phrase with their own experiences.
Like, you know, for myself, like my words are not in the coloring book or in affirmation cards, but I could relate to a lot of them as being Indigenous person of the North. And I could see myself hearing these sentences spoken to me or thought about when with my own family and my own, like, you know, working with, you know, my aunties and my uncles, my father and my mother, my grandparents. So it definitely is like a healing craft for sure.
The artist behind the illustrations is Elaine Landry. She is Decho Dene from Fort Providence.
It's so cool to see it in person and like it, and just like getting to like go through it. It's like, yay, I did this.
Elaine's illustrations were drawn in a very modern fashion, which she says was intentional.
I wanted to like illustrate Indigenous characters with a happy family with a bit of a modern style to normalize Indigenous people in today's society and in the art world without the stereotypical stigma.
And Elaine had another intent, to have every illustration be of Indigenous women.
I wanted to like reflect of how strong Indigenous women can be, and like because of like sexism and like racial profiling for Indigenous women. So like getting to empower and modernize Indigenous women in contemporary art and like digital art especially, and in identifying as an Indigenous woman, I want to like show that I can do so much more as like everyone else.
As for Kyle, he says it's important for Friendship Center workers to confront the trauma of violence instead of burying it.
We're working on healing ourselves and also gaining knowledge on gender-based violence. But at the same time, once we work on ourselves, we can support others. And sadly, we all deal with the trauma.
In order to support their work, the Council of Friendship Centers are looking to release more crafting activities, such as puzzles, in the near future. The coloring books and affirmation cards have been handed out to several organizations and clients, and are available for pickup at Northern Friendship Centers. Kyle says that they will keep printing out as many copies as they can to keep up with the overwhelming demand. Bruce de la Cruz, APTN National News, Yellowknife.
Thanks, Bruce. Time to step aside one last time, but first a look at what's coming up tonight.
Bonjour, hi, I'm Kim Sullivan, host of your weekly French news magazine, Nouvelle Nationale. Join us tonight, 6:30 Eastern, for a recap of some of the top stories, plus what you need to know election-wise, all en français. Plus, find out about a Quebec nation considering dropping the colonized term Huron from all official entities, while another officializes their native language. À ce soir.
Welcome back. Time now for our photo of the day. And our thanks to Rosa for sharing this view of the Aurora Borealis, or the Northern Lights, from the community of Kugaruk, Nunavut. Still probably got that wrong. Thanks so much, Rosa. It's a beauty of a photo. You can send yours to share@aptn.ca for the chance to be featured as our next photo of the day. Now let's take a look at tomorrow's weather forecast. Starting on the East Coast, showers in 8 in Fredericton, sun's out and 8 for St. John's. +3 with snow in Kuujjuaq, sunny and 1 in Nain. Cloudy and 12 in Montreal, a sunny high of 11 in Val-d'Or. 12 in Sault Ste. Marie and Ottawa, 11 in North Bay. 8 in Thunder Bay, rain, and 13 in Sioux Lookout. 8 in God's Lake and Norway House, 11 in the Paw. 18 in Winnipeg, 13 and sunny in Dauphin. 16 for Regina, 13 in Saskatoon. Sunny and 15 in Meadow Lake, 11 in La Ronge. Flurries across much of northern Alberta, 8 in High Level and Fort McMurray. 10 in Edmonton, 14 in Lethbridge. 11 with showers in Vancouver, 12 and sunny skies for Victoria. 7 in Prince George, 5 with snow in Dease Lake. -1 and flurries in Old Crow, 5 in Whitehorse. +1 in Yellowknife and Norman Wells. -11 in Sax Harbor, cloudy, and -6 in Paulituck. -7 for Chesterfield and Whale Cove, 4 below in Arviette. -18 in Resolute, 3 below with snow in Iqaluit. An elder in the Clecho region has passed away. Yellowknife journalist Bruce De La Cruz now on the life and legacy of Ted Blondin.
Arthur Theodore Blondin, otherwise known as Ted Blondin, passed away on April 4th at the age of 72. A respected Clecho elder, he was also the co-founder and editor of the Native Press, an Indigenous newspaper originally published by the Indian Brotherhood of the Northwest Territories in the early 1970s. He spoke for his people during negotiations of the Dene Métis land claim and the Tlicho land claim from the late 80s to the mid-2000s, and he was chair of the Tlicho government's Community Services Agency. Ted Blondin has been celebrated with the Tlicho Government Award and the King Charles III Coronation Medal. His legacy compelled Northwest Territories Premier R.J. Simpson to leave a parting message. Ted Blondin was a remarkable leader whose vision and commitment helped shape the future of the Tlicho region and the Northwest Territories. Bruce De La Cruz, APTN National News, Yellowknife.
The 32nd Annual Inspire Awards was held in Vancouver this week, and once again, some of Canada's highest achievers were honored at a sold-out event. APTN's Tina House was there and has this story.
It was a sold-out event as multi-award-winning performer Jeremy Dutcher wowed the crowd with his rendition of traditional music of his people. Hosted by Miss Universe Canada Ashley Collingbull, tonight it's all about honoring some of the best and brightest Indigenous achievers from across Canada. And for Colby Delorme, who won for Business and Commerce, he was presented his award from his mother, Marie. 12 recipients were given Inspire Awards, ranging from 3 youth recipients, arts, business, culture, education, health, public service, sports, law, and a Lifetime Achievement Award, who was presented to Harvey McHugh by his son, Duncan.
It is my honor and my privilege to present the Inspire Lifetime Achievement Award to my dad, Wabagijik Harvey McHugh.
Mike DeGagne is the president and CEO of Inspire, and he says the awards is all about bringing the community together.
We're all about celebrating Indigenous excellence, and for me, it just says to the rest of the people who are here and who will be watching our broadcast later on, that our excellence is everywhere in our community, and we really need to celebrate it.
Joining the roster of talent at the show was Tia Wood. She comes from the Satellite Cree Nation, and she's the only Indigenous woman to ever be signed by Sony Records. Also in attendance at the awards was the CEO of APTN, Monica Ill.
Well, APTN's been a proud sponsor for so many years, and I think it's so important to be part of this. You know, these stories, they help us, but not only us, I think they help more the younger generation as they grow and they hear those stories saying that if so-and-so can do it, well, maybe I can do it as well, and there's a place for me, you know, in this world.
The 2026 Inspire Awards will be held in Halifax. Tina House, APTN National News, Vancouver.
Looks like a fun night. Congrats to all the winners. That's all the time we have for your APTN National News for this Friday. For news anytime, though, you can visit our website, aptnnews.ca. And don't forget to join us here tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern Time for APTN National News Weekend. And then the last hockey night in Canada and Inuktitut of the season as the Canadians and Leafs do battle. That's all here tomorrow night. I'm Dennis Ward, Marcy McGuitch. Thanks for being with us. Kim is up next. Have a great night.